In this chapter of our tutorial, we're going to take a look at getting audio recording into Ableton Live. Now, the first thing we want to do is get to our audio preferences. So, Live, menu at the top, pull down and click on Preferences. Now, here we see the audio tab is currently selected on the left. You see it's connected through this flow kind of chart here. And in the top left, we see this main spot for configuring our audio. Now, in a Macintosh, we're always going to choose driver type as core audio. However, in Windows you often have multiple choices, and the most common and highly recommended is the ASIO or ASIO type. Next to that, we choose which input we're going to use, and you'll just simply choose from a list. If you have more than one device, it'll show up here. Also, we do the same thing for the output. Now we want to think about the input configuration now. Let's go ahead and click on that. And this is the default input configuration, where we have two inputs, and both of them are enabled for doing mono recording, and they are also available as a stereo pair. I'm going to tell it OK now, and let's look at our track. Closing out this preference window, and here we are on our audio track, audio 1. And to see this, we need to come over to the right in the middle and enable our I/O view. I'm also going to hide this lower section, Command Option L or Control Alt L. Open up the mixer a little bit and get this in the middle of the screen. Now what we see now is that we can choose either 1 and 2 as a stereo pair, input 1 by itself as a mono input, or input 2 itself as a mono input. Let's go back now to our preferences. Again, I'm going to go Command and the comma key pulls open the preferences, or Control comma, and let's go to input configure again. Now in the instance I usually use in my studio, I need more mono. I'm going to disable the stereo and I'm going to turn on 2 more monos. Now what happens is every time you activate another input connection from your interface, you're going to be using audio RAM. So you have a buffer that you need for audio input coming from the interface. So don't enable more than you need, because that's more likely to create problems in your audio recording. Okay, once we've got that done, I'm going to tell it OK, and then we'll close out the preferences. Now when we come back to our audio input section of the I/O box, I'm going to click and hold. We no longer see 1 and 2 stereo pair, but we see all 6 of the mono inputs available that I chose. Now another thing about your audio preferences, at any time you want to configure them, you don't have to go to the preferences. You can come to them directly here from your audio input. Come down to the bottom and get configure. Again, you choose your audio devices and your input configuration. Okay, we'll leave that unchanged and go back now and look at our track. Now again, you can see that I have a microphone that sends a signal in, and we get the LEDs moving up and down, letting us know that audio is indeed coming in. I'm going to delete this MIDI track by selecting it, clicking on it, and pressing my delete key. Then I'll come down into the empty gray area and right click and insert a second audio track. Now if I choose any other input, it's going to be empty, no audio is coming in, because the only place I currently have a mic connected is on input 1. Now to record, we need to record arm a track down at the bottom, and then we're immediately going to doubly hear my voice. I'm going to click on this to start recording. And now as I speak, we can see the audio is being recorded down here. Spacebar to stop. Okay, I'm going to turn record arm off by clicking on it. And now double clicking on the clip will show us that waveform. We can play it back. And now as I speak, we can see the audio is being recorded down here. Okay, so here's my warp mode and everything engaged. And notice now, if I do the same thing, I'm going to stop, fold this away, hide it, Command Option L, or for Windows Control Alt L. I'm going to mute this currently, record enable at the bottom, and we'll do the same thing. Again, clicking on the record clip launch button here. And now even as I speak, this is not going into a microphone into the computer, so we see no waveform. I'll stop. I'll double click here to see the waveform, and we see it is empty. Now that is taking up space. I have recorded empty or silence audio. So there's nothing coming in, but it is taking memory, so you want to be careful about that. So that's a basic way to record audio coming in. In our next section, we're going to take a look at recording multiple tracks at the same time.